Welcome to Listen to Me, a multi-voiced exploration of the city with 21 guests sharing their personal experiences of Milan's contemporary art, architecture, design, music, fashion and literature. We explore each theme in 4 episodes. Let's continue our walk through Milan with the 3rd episode of the itinerary, dedicated to contemporary art, starting in a place with a hidden soul on the quieter side of the lively Porta Venezia district. Here, at number 15 Via Giorgio Jan, you'll be struck by the charm of a uniquely beautiful home, built in the Art Deco style by Piero Portaluppi, one of Milan's greatest architects. The building has marvellous elaborate windows set at a 45-degree angle on the corner. This is the Casa Museo Boschi Di Stefano, the Boschi Di Stefano House Museum, the home of an engineer, Antonio, and his artist wife, Marianne. During their life together, they collected over 2,000 artworks, including objects and sculptures, reducing their furniture to a minimum, and filling the walls of their apartment with paintings by the greatest Italian artists of the 20th century. Let's hear from curator, critic and design historian Anty Pansera.
Nella casa hanno abitato.
This house was home to a wonderful couple, Antonio Boschi and Marianne Di Stefano, who was also an important ceramic artist. So she was both collector and artist. The apartment contains only a part of their collection. It shows the character of this couple, who at first, I wouldn't say were poor, but did have to make some very clear choices in order to buy works by artists who weren't famous yet, but would become so later. Their living room became a place where a whole series of characters from the Milan art scene of the time could meet and share ideas.
Milanese di quegli anni.
When you visit it, you experience a total immersion in art. Your eyes jump from painting to painting and from sculpture to sculpture, admiring details, faces or landscapes in each work, and then lingering on every unusual and elegant piece of furniture. It's a place where time and space suddenly stand still. Here's how Vincenzo Trione, art critic with the Corriere della Sera newspaper, describes the unique experience of visiting the Boschi Di Stefano House Museum.
There was a phase when I used to go there a lot. I studied Italian art a great deal through the works in the collection. I think it's a place where you can look at the artworks in the best possible way, in silence, without voices in the background, which is one of the real limitations of museums, international museums as well, not just the Italian ones. You can break away from all the noise and see the works face to face. It makes you realize that if you want to look at art, probably you have to isolate yourself from everything around you.
The Boschi Di Stefano House Museum is just a short walk from the stop Lima on the red metro line M1.
As we walk towards the city centre across the main shopping street, Corso Buenos Aires, we come across 2 contemporary art spaces, Fondazione Marconi, Giorgio Marconi's foundation, and Galleria Joe Marconi, his son Joe's gallery. Both are in Via Tadino, and both have the same experimental vocation. As a young boy, Giorgio Marconi met the most important Italian artists of the 20th century, including Carrà, De Chirico, Morandi, Sironi, Bai, and Tadini. They were regular customers of his father, who was a picture framer. He wanted to transform those occasional meetings into his life and work. So, after he gave up studying medicine, he decided to follow his vocation for art and open his own gallery in the family's workshop. Opened in 1965, the gallery promoted over the years the excellence of Italian artists of that era. Giorgio made brave and original choices that were often ahead of their time. In 1990, it was the turn of his son, Joe Marconi, to open another gallery, also in Via Tadino at number 20, with a space featuring large white rooms where he showcases the latest contemporary trends, continuing the family's passion for art.
Joe Marconi
Gio and Giorgio Marconi's galleries complement each other, in the sense that Gio does invaluable work that is very much open to the strictly contemporary. Giorgio's is a treasure trove of post-war art, predominantly Italian, with some specific trends like Italian pop art and informal cultures.
Cultura dell'informale.
Fondazione Marconi and Galleria Gio Marconi are just a few minutes' walk from the stop Porta Venezia on the red metro line M1.
Walking towards San Babila, we get to Porta Venezia, once called Porta Orientale, or the Eastern Gate, as it faces eastwards towards Venice, and from there towards the Orient. A large part of the district was once occupied by the Lazzaretto, a hospital built for plague victims, where Manzoni's character, Don Rodrigo, dies, and the lovers Renzo and Lucia meet again. Today, all that remains of the huge Lazzaretto building is a small octagonal church and a few meters of cells. The whole district, built on the ashes of the Lazzaretto, is now one of the liveliest in the city, filled with multicultural restaurants and bars, and popular with the LGBTQ+ community. Every evening, the narrow 19th century streets teem with nightlife for the city's young people and tourists. Continuing along Corso Venezia, on the left we can see a large arched building, also by the brilliant architect Portaluppi. It looks like a majestic gateway to another dimension, and it really is. As we go through it, we discover a real oasis in the city, a peaceful corner for our eyes and ears. Narrow streets, surrounded by sombre buildings, end in this quadrangle of silence, where, as if by magic, a private garden with pink flamingos faces a neo-Gothic building with fairy tale volutes, and instead of an intercom, there's a large bronze ear. There's an even more unexpected place in these unexpected streets, Portaluppi's masterpiece, Villa Necchi Campiglio in Via Mozart. It's an urban villa with garden, swimming pool and tennis court. This Art Deco jewel was built in the 1930s for Sister Nedda and Gigina Necchi. Today, the villa is one of the jewels in the crown of the PAC, Italy's national trust, which opened all its magical rooms to the public, including the modern art masterpieces from the Gianferrari collection. The famous Milanese gallerist donated to the PAC, asking to be allowed to sleep in the villa occasionally, so she could be close once again to her beloved paintings and sculptures. Like the delicate statue of the Amante Morta, or Dead Lover, by Arturo Martini. Let's hear from Anna Zegna, president of the Zegna Foundation and a long-standing supporter of the PAC.
This villa continues to be modern, and it's still in use thanks to the PAC. It's not just a legacy of the past, but full of life and new things to discover, including the collection of my dear friend, Claudia Gianferrari. I think of Claudia Gianferrari as the dead lover, not because she's no longer with us, but because of the tenderness of that sculpture. It reminds me of the marvellous culture of her collections. She got them as a kind of legacy, both moral and business-related, from her father. It definitely made Claudia one of the greatest collectors, art experts and gallery owners of the 20th century in Italy. It takes me back to wonderful times where she taught me so much, because she didn't just discuss Sironi, Tosi, Carrà, Marussi, and 1,000 other figures of that age. She made them live. So I really feel that the presence of these works inside the house makes it quite a special home again, because you can walk through the corridors, climb the stairs, look out over a balustrade, and discover something you didn't expect, something that wasn't created in the house, but thanks to the PAC, has found a wonderful world where it can be included and talked about. So it's a journey through time, because on one hand there's porcelain and Italian maiolica, and on the other there are Eastern pieces, and then this Italian 1900s, which tells about our history, our identity. It's an era that really saw our country move from a world that was perhaps more agricultural to one that was definitely more industrial, up to the present day, with design elements that are typical of Milan.
Design che contraddistinguono Milano.
Villa Necchi Campiglio is just a few minutes' walk from the stop Palestro on the red metro line M1.
Anna Zegna will also walk us to another art space, not very far from Villa Necchi Campiglio, the PAC, or Pavilion of Contemporary Art in Via Palestro, commissioned by Milan City Council from architect Ignazio Gardella, when the city was looking for a new space to display its 20th century collections. The exhibition space was opened in 1954.
È una struttura.
It's basically a glass building that interacts with the greenery surrounding it and with the city in a part of Milan that's right at the heart of the busiest streets of the city, because Porta Venezia is really close. But all things considered, the greenery means you can experience a very peaceful space, where from Garuti to Giacometti. I'm referring to two marvellous exhibitions that I saw, found a way to express their real essence, because the building almost disappeared. It's not easy to display Giacometti, but the minimalism of the architecture highlighted Giacometti's works, as it did with the playfulness and the importance of some of Alberto Garuti's works. They became the focal point of a space that's so simple and so elegant.
Pulito e così elegante.
The PAC offers contemporary art exhibitions with a focus on performance and works by living artists. In short, it's a place to discover new frontiers, as well as established modern-day artists.
The PAC, Padiglione d'Arte Contemporanea, is just a few minutes' walk from the stop Palestro on the red metro line M1.
Our cultural walk ends here, but don't put your headphones away. In the next episode, we'll explore an area undergoing a complete transformation, Scala Romana. To listen to the next episodes, follow us on your favourite podcast platforms or visit www.casamuseo.it, where you can also buy the Casa Museo card to visit the Poldi Pezzoli Museum, the Bagatti Valsecchi Museum, and the Villa Necchi Campiglio of Milan's house museums at a discount price. The Boschi Di Stefano House Museum is free to visit.